The chief executive of the Independent Business Network and the former CEO of Labour Leave, Brendan Chilton. Brendan, welcome to the show. No way on earth we'll be rejoining the European Union. We've heard endlessly from the Labour Party, and yet it's the first Monday morning of a new regime and closer deals, closer alignment, top of the menu. Call me a cynic. Is this a long march towards rejoining the European Union?
Well, I campaigned for us to leave the European Union just as strongly as many others. I don't actually believe this is the march back to Europe. One of the things the Labour Party said in its manifesto, and which successive Labour figures have said, is that we will not be joining the EU, customs union or single market. Now, on the specifics of this, we have to remember this is taking place under a framework set up by the previous Conservative government. There will be a renegotiation of several, not a renegotiation, but a resetting of several strands of our relationship with Europe next year. So this was going to happen whoever won the election. Now, for the specific issues that Keir Starmer and David Lammy have raised, namely the first one that is most important to me and probably many of your listeners, is the migrant crisis. We've got to work with Europe on this, and unfortunately the last government didn't, which is why we had so many crossing the Channel, not far from where I am now in Kent. We can't simply say we're going to stop the boats if we're not going to have a conversation with the French, who control the other half of the Channel, and similarly with the Belgians as well. And then, of course, other countries further in Europe to encourage them to take action to stop those people moving through Europe and coming to the UK. So I don't see this as a threat to Brexit or a reversal of Brexit. I see it as actually beyond Brexit. Brexit's happened, and we're now dealing with an assortment of issues outside the European Union, but we always said outside the EU we would still work with the EU.
But we already work with the French before. We give them £500 million a year, and the numbers went through the roof. 13,500 small boat arrivals already this year, 12% increase on the previous year. And on the first day of this new dawn, the boats are still rolling into Dover. But on the point of the Brexit deal itself, Michel Barnier was an excellent negotiator. Baked into that deal are treaty clauses which will catch anybody who tries to toughen up on Brexit. The fishing quotas, they're up for grabs in 2026. And if we try and change them, then we could lose out on getting cheap electricity from the European Union. And anyway, we hear from Brussels all the time, Brendan, they don't want to tinker with the deal. They're happy with the deal. They want a full rejoin, or we can clear off. So this might sound great on paper. This might please the Remain voting bloc of the Labour Party, but in actual fact, Brussels don't want to negotiate. They want us back in too.
Well, of course, just dealing with the first point on the boats, Yvette Cooper has today announced the new beefed-up border security force. Of course, Labour only won the election on Thursday. The boats are still going to roll, unfortunately. But once that border force is in place, and we hope we can get people recruited and trained up over the summer, we should see those numbers coming down. But you are absolutely right. The last government did give the French an enormous amount of money, but unfortunately, they didn't put the infrastructure in on our side of the Channel to stop those boats crossing. Labour are hopefully going to tackle that with the new border force. Now, on the specifics of the treaty, once again, I don't disagree with you. The treaty negotiated by Boris Johnson was a terrible treaty. He gave an enormous amount to the European Union, including, by the way, Northern Ireland, which is essentially a satellite of the European Union. If we can have a negotiation under Keir Starmer or changing certain aspects of the treaty, I mean, as far as I'm aware, we haven't had a definitive no yet from the European Commission. If we get a definitive no, then it's done for. But if we can come to an arrangement whereby it is easier for businesses to trade between Great Britain and Northern Ireland, if we can get those boats stopped, and if we can come to other arrangements that improve trading relationships, I'm all for free trade. If we can have better trade with Europe and other countries around the world, let's do it.
Well, Brendan, trade, imports and exports to the EU have all increased since Brexit, and Michel Barnier has warned all along any kind of renegotiation means we must accept freedom of movement. That, many think, will be a total betrayal of the Brexit referendum. Look, we've got to leave it there. Thanks very much for joining us, the former CEO of Labour Leave, Brendan Chilton. Pleasure to have him on the show. Thank you very much.